Hey there, in this video we're going to be going over the 2022-2023 TMSCA General Math Test number 6. Let's do it. Next, if A, this symbol, B equals A cubed plus B squared, then what is the value of -1, this symbol, -3? Alright, this symbol right here is not a real symbol, it's just a placeholder symbol that they've used for this problem. So, what we need to do is, we need to substitute the values of -1 for A and -3 for B and solve this problem. So, we have A cubed plus B squared is equal to the A, the symbol B. Now, if -1, the symbol -3, that would mean we would have to substitute -1 for A and -3 for B. So, this would become -1 to the power of 3 plus -3 to the power of 2. Alright, so -1 to the power of 3, that's just -1 times -1 times -1, which just remains as -1. Next, plus -3 squared. -3 squared is just -3 times -3, which is 9. So you add 9. This becomes -1 plus 9, which is 8, and that's your answer. Next, 4 gallons equals how many ounces? Alright, so there's one easy way of doing this. So first, 1 ounce is equal to 1/8 of a cup, or in other words, 8 ounces is equal to 1 cup. Alright, but we're looking for gallons here. Well, 16 cups is equal to 1 gallon. That means we can just do 16 times 8 to figure out how many ounces is in 1 gallon, and from there we can do that times 4 to figure out how much ounces are in 4 gallons. So let's do that. First, 16 times 8. That is 128. Alright, next. 128 times 4. 128 times 4 is 512, and that's your answer. Next, number 23. 0.02 repeating equals what in fractions? Alright, so if the 2 is repeating here, that means when a number is repeating, that's always represented as 2/9. In this case, it's 2/9 because the number that's repeating is 2. However, if it was 3 that's repeating, then this fraction would be 3/9. Okay, but there's one more thing to this. When you see the 2/9, this is for when it's repeating as the very first decimal slot. So this would be when it's 0.2 repeating like this. But there's an additional 0 here. So we need to add a 0 to the denominator as well. So this becomes 2/90. However, 2/90 can be further simplified into 1/45, and that's your answer. Next, what is the value of the star in the picture below? Alright, so we have these two equations right here. We have square plus square plus square equals 78, and we have square minus star equals 12. Alright, the first step we have to do is solve for square. So in the first equation, we have square plus square plus square equals 78. When you have a repeated addition of the same element, you can just combine them to make this 3 of square is equal to 78. Now I need to find out what 1 of square is. So we can divide both sides by 3. That means that square is equal to 78 divided by 3, which is 26. So the square value is 26. That means that 26 minus the star is equal to 12. Alright. Now, when we have repeated subtraction of a similar element, we can combine them as well. So this becomes 26 minus 2 star is equal to 12. Alright. Now what we can do is we can take this 26 and we can subtract it from both sides of the equation to get the star by itself. So this becomes -2 of star is equal to -14. Alright. Then we just divide both sides out by the -2, and this becomes star equals 7, and that's your answer. Next, the toll for Highway 91 is 42 cents for every 7 miles traveled. What is the toll for a trip of 217 miles on Highway 91? Alright, so we have the fact that 42 cents per every 7 miles is the toll. That means if there's a trip of 217 miles, what we have to do is we have to divide 217 by 7 and multiply the result of that by 42 cents. So let's do that. 217 divided by 7 is just 31. Alright, now we have to do 31 times 0.42. In other words, 31 times 42 over 100. Alright, so 31 times 42. That is just 30 times 42 and 1 times 42. 1 times 42 is 42. 30 times 42 is 1,260. So we add this up to get 1,302. Now it's still under the denominator of 100. So we have to divide out the 100, which gives us 13.02, and that's your answer. Next, 678 times 10 power 4 equals what in scientific notation? Alright, I actually have a full video just on scientific notation, which will be linked in the pin card at the top. But let's continue with this problem. So we have 678 times 10 power 4. Alright, the requirements for scientific notation is the value in the a value, which is this one right here, has to be greater than 1, but less than 10. And this right here, the b value, has to be 10 to the power of something. So any number that represents how much digits it has after the decimal point. Alright, so first, let's check. Does 678 meet the requirements of a? No, it does not, so we have to change this. Next, does it meet the requirements of 10 to the power of x? It does. Alright, but we still need to change it, because if we need to change one part, we need to change both parts. So let's do that. So 678. To make this a number between 1 and 10, we have to go back 2 decimal places. So the decimal is right here right now, and we have to go 1, 2 to make this 6.78. 6.78 times 10 to the power of 4, right? Well, no. Because we went back 2 decimal places, we have to add 2 to the exponent. So it goes from 4 to 6. So it becomes 6.78 to the times 10 to the power of 6, and that's your answer. Next, 3 positive integers are in a ratio of 1 to 4 to 5 and have a sum of 120. What is the largest of the 3 integers? Alright, so we have the ratio of 1 to 4 to 5. The largest of the 3 integers is the one that has the ratio of 5. Alright, so the way we figure this out is, if these all add up to 120, we can say that we can all put an x in front of all of these. So that means 1x plus 4x plus 5x equals 120, which means 10x equals 120, and x is 12. Alright, so now that we know what x is 12, and this is our largest one, which is 5x, we can do 5 times 12 to figure out the value of the largest 3 of the 3 integers. So 5 times 12 is 60, and that's your answer. Next, 257 base 10 equals what base 5? Alright, the way we convert this is we list out the powers of 5 until we get the power that is greater than 257. So let's do that. So 1, which is 5 power 0, 5 power 1, then 25, 5 squared, 125, 5 cubed, and 625. Now 625 is greater than 257, so we don't use that. So these are the 4 powers of 5 we're using. So let's start with 125. How many times does 125 go into 257? It goes in twice, because 125 times 2 is 250, and 250 is less than 257. So we can write a 2 here, and we can subtract 250. That leaves us with 7 left. Alright, how many times does 25 go into 7? It can't, because 25 is greater than 7. So we write a 0 here. Then, how many times can 5 go into 7? It can go in once, because 5 times 1 is 5, which is less than 7. Finally, how many times can 1 go into 7 minus 5, which is 2? The reason we subtract 5 is we used 5 right here when we wrote the 1. So how much times does 1 go into 2? 1 goes into 2 times. So now we have 2012, and that's your answer. Next, number 29. How many total diagonals can be drawn inside of a regular 13-sided polygon? Alright, the formula for finding the total amount of diagonals that can be drawn inside of a regular 13-sided polygon involves n, which is the number of sides. So the formula is n times n minus 3 divided by 2. So in this case, we have 13 sides, so n is equal to 13. So if we substitute the value of 13 in for n, we get 13 times 13 minus 3, which is 10, divided by 2. 13 times 10 is 130. 130 divided by 2 is 65, and that's your answer. Next, number 30. 66 feet per second is equal to how many miles per hour? Alright, the simple conversion chart you need to know for this is 22 feet per second is equal to 15 miles per hour. So if we're given 66, 66 is just 22 times 3, which means to find the amount of miles per hour, we can do 15 times 3, which is 45, and that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.